No one ever tells you that being Muslim is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week job. You can't just stay home and do nothing. You have to go out and interact with society. And when you do, it could be a social gathering, it could be a business gathering, it doesn't matter. You need to make sure that your manners and the way you hold yourself in the public eye is following the teachings of the religion, right? The guidelines, the principles, and the laws. And that is through your actions or your inactions and what you say and how you say it. Right? But here's what's interesting, though, is that you never know which thing that you've done or said is the reason why somebody picked up the book and said, you know what, let me figure out what this Islam thing is about. I saw whoever do this thing and it was weird. It stood out. Why did they do that? Why do they think like that? Why do they say that? Or so forth. You never know, subhanAllah. And I'll give you a very simple example. Islamically, we're not meant to shake hands with the opposite gender, right? Unless that person's a mahram. And if you don't know what a mahram is, Google it. It's pretty simple. But anyways, if they're not a mahram, you cannot shake their hands, right? But in Western cultures and societies, it's very common to just shake hands, especially if you're going for a business thing or you're meeting somebody. They usually hold their hand out, and it's disrespectful, or it's seen as, to not shake their hand. But this is the interesting part, and I've seen this personally because alhamdulillah, I try to adhere to that principle and that teaching. They reach out to shake my hand. And I just hold back and I say, with all due respect, my religion forbids me from shaking your hand. Now, the first reaction is like, oh, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to disrespect you. I'm like, that's fine. You don't have to panic. It's nothing happened. It's just, I'm just letting you know that I cannot shake your hand. I'm not trying to be disrespectful or rude, but there's certain principles that I have to adhere to. And oftentimes, actually all the time, no one's ever come to me and said, oh, you're so rude. They're always like, that's really interesting. I respect that. Now, they could be being polite, and that's fine. But the point is, no one's ever gone out of the way and said, you're being rude. That's not right. You're in Western cultures. You need to follow what we do. No one's ever told me that. On the contrary, whether they mean it or not, they just tell me that's really interesting. I respect that, and I didn't mean any disrespect, which is really cool. But you never know. Maybe that would take somebody to go home and say, why do those Muslims not shake hands? And they open up the book. And that may lead to them becoming Muslim. Allahu Alam. So subhanAllah, always be an ambassador of your religion, because you are. You don't have an option not to. As a Muslim, you have to represent. And if you're going to represent, you better do it in the best way possible. Because who knows, maybe you are the reason that somebody became Muslim. And maybe you are the reason that somebody didn't like Islam. So make sure you hold yourself up to a higher level and always try to do the right thing by the people under the eyes of God. Barakallah fikum. Take care. Salam.